Welcome back to Leadership Devotionals. Today we will be talking about a continuation actually of the making of the leader, but this time how God works in a leader's life. And so this episode is subtitled By My Spirit. Now, although childhood experiences, physical features, failures, crises, hardship, personal struggles, or even successes, all of this may shape and have an impact on the general leadership abilities of leaders. There is a certain dimension added to the personal growth of a spiritual leader. Now, you can just be any leader that is, but there is a certain special ingredient if you want to become a spiritual leader as compared to secular leadership. Oswald Sanders said this: spiritual ends require spiritual means, and spiritual means come only by the workings of the Holy Spirit. You see, the very first episode of Leadership Devotionals is get yoked with the leader. When you are yoked with the leader, the promise for you is, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Yes, the burden of leadership will not be removed from you. The yoke will still be there. But the concept of that yoke is you are yoked together with Christ. Just like, if you can review the first episode, there's in the ancient Near East, there's a double yoke. There is experienced oxen and a novice oxen. And the experienced oxen will teach the novice oxen what to do, but together they both pull the plow. When you are yoked to the leader will start to let the Holy Spirit work in you, so that there will be a change and a transformation that will occur in you that will add another major dimension in your leadership, and that will be spiritual leadership. Paul, the Apostle Paul, identified this kind of leadership as sometimes, how the Holy Spirit enable people to do as it is written in Romans 12 verse 8. In this chapter, Paul was mentioning the different spiritual gifts that were given by God through the Holy Spirit to each of members of his family. And one of that is, to him that ruleth, to the person that ruleth with diligence. That is the empowerment of the Holy Spirit in a leadership life. Various gifts given by the Spirit of God according to the measure of faith that they profess. Now, this kind of leadership is evident in God's message to Zerubbabel, the governor over Jerusalem, who oversaw the rebuilding of the temple after the Jewish exiles returned from Babylon. Zerubbabel undertook the daunting task of governing a region that has been decimated, by war and exile, as well as rebuilding a massive temple that have laid in ruins. That was, the temple was laid to waste by the Babylonians. And this time, the Babylonians are also conquered by Medo-Persia. And Medo-Persia has kings like Darius, Ahasuerus, Artaxerxes, and Zerubbabel, coming back from exile from Babylon, he went back this time to Jerusalem to be the governor of Jerusalem, of course, under the emperorship of the Medes and the Persians. And just imagine the daunting task of rallying the people together, the people who have, been down and depressed and, scattered like a sheep without a shepherd. They are this kind of people. And aside from that, there are also other, foreigners, tribes around that doesn't want that Israel will be able to rebuild their temple, at the same time will also be able to rebuild their walls. And so, this is the situation that Zerubbabel arrived in. And you can just imagine, it is a very, very discouraging situation. Aside from the challenge that seems to be insurmountable, the daunting task is humanly impossible. At this crucial juncture, Zerubbabel received a message from God through prophet Zechariah. In Zechariah 4 verse 6, it says, "Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord." This is how you're going to build the temple. Not by might of the people, nor by the power of the emperor of the Medes and the Persians. You will be able to build the temple by the power of my Holy Spirit. That's how God has encouraged Zerubbabel, because Zerubbabel was already getting disappointed. The daunting task was too much, and that he was, having all the discouragement around them. In fact, a group of people from the surrounding villages, but with evil intent, came to Zerubbabel and said, "We will also help you build your temple." But Zerubbabel, together with the rest of the elders, look at these people, look at these foreigners, and in the back of their minds, they have read the evil intent of these people. They're just there to sow discord. They're just there to sow discouragement among the people. And Zerubbabel answered them and said, "No, we ourselves will build the temple. We don't need your help." In fact, in verse 7 of Zechariah chapter 4, "Who art thou, O great mountain?" These challenges, if they are just like a great mountain, if they are, a big impediment in front of Zerubbabel, it says here, Zechariah was saying, "Who art thou, O great mountain?" Before Zerubbabel, before my governor, before my servant who is empowered by my Spirit, before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a plain. And he shall bring forth the headstone, therefore with shouting, crying, "Grace, grace unto it." God has worked in Zerubbabel's life. And in fact, he just not only worked, but he empowered Zerubbabel with his Spirit. So much so that challenges as big as mountains, trials as huge as, adamant boulders, God declared, "Before my servant Zerubbabel, which is empowered by my Holy Spirit, you will be a plain." And so, conventionally, Zerubbabel may have thought his primary concerns in building the temple, of course, will be the materials. It will be brick and mortar. It will be finances. He will be needing finances. And so he has to tax the people so that they will be able to contribute in the building of the temple. And of course, aside from that, he has to deal with the surrounding enemies. But in the deluge of all of these challenges, the governor Zerubbabel learned an invaluable lesson. Spiritual leaders simply require the Holy Spirit to work in their lives. I repeat this. Spiritual leaders simply require the Holy Spirit to work in their lives. Even when it involves, undertaking tasks that appear to be unspiritual, like erecting buildings, administering to the people, and raising money, these become all spiritual jobs when the Holy Spirit is involved. Therefore, my fellow leaders, as I've told you before, if you are facing challenges, if you are facing trials, if you are facing problems, don't face it alone. Get yoked with the leader, because the leader, God, works in your life as He had worked in the life of Zerubbabel. He will send His Holy Spirit to work in your life, to go with you, to trudge through that mountain so that it will just simply be a plain. Because His promise is, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Fellow leaders, let God's Holy Spirit empower you today, and you will achieve great things for the Lord, is my prayer for you.